Hey everyone, this is Kid Cabela with Lens Media. We are here on location at 2700 South California Avenue here in the city of Chicago. This is a protest that I have never seen before because we've done a lot of coverage here by the Cook County Corrections Facility. And again, you can see it right behind me. But there is a massive caravan of people on this side and on this side from all over the city of Chicago and state of Illinois that are calling for the funding of the Chicago Police Department and the Cook County Corrections Facility as well. For a long time, our elected officials in the city of Chicago, Cook County, state of Illinois have never taken action calling for much needed reform, and they're still turning a blind eye. Most notably, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who still is not acknowledging this protest. She's turning a blind eye, even though she ran her campaign in 2019 calling for reform.
It's still morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tanya, Watkins, and I'm the Executive Director of Southsiders Organized for Unity and Liberation, also known as SOUL. And I am honored to be your MC today. We are hearing the voices of young organizers and activists around the city and their calls to defund police. And they are absolutely right. Our obsession with pouring more and more money into incarceration while starving our community of needed resources continues to take a toll on black bodies and black families. In Cook County, you too have blood on your hands.
You know, we are really here to amplify the voices of young activists and organizers around the city who are calling for divestment and incarceration and, you know, defunding police. And, you know, we cannot, you know, have this conversation without, you know, recognizing that Cook County is incarcerating black and brown people at record rates. And as we continue to chip away at the criminal justice system, as we continue to enact reforms to our bond system, we have to make sure that we are divesting from these county jails and prisons and putting that money back into community where it belongs.
Now, it should be important to point out that Seattle and Minneapolis, two major cities, have gone forward in calling for defunding the police and actually have taken action. Mayor Lightfoot, who ran on reform, is not adopting this idea. In fact, she's fully on board with, in fact, funding the police departments here in the city of Chicago even further. What are your thoughts on Mayor Lightfoot and her refusal to really listen to this movement that is gaining a lot of traction nationwide?
Absolutely. So I think that many of us are very disappointed at how far behind Chicago is and really reining in the police department. You know, we have been under siege of police terror for a very long time, and folks have been organizing and really making some strong demands that we need less police and more investment in communities. Chicago police and their police union are very, very powerful, and we need folks who are willing to take them on to say that we are done with racist policing, that we need investments in our communities, and we have to organize and make sure that the mayor knows that this is non-negotiable here in Chicago as well.
So we are here with our partners, the People's Lobby, the Chicago Community Bond Fund, Black Lives Matter Chicago, the Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. CPAC now! CPAC now! CPAC now! CPAC now! Good Kids Mad City, A Just Harvest, and the Badasses at National Nurses United. And a host of endorsing organizations to demand that the county stand up and stop investing in criminalizing and brutalizing black people, but instead prioritize in the things that actually keep our communities safe.
Now, it's also important to point out that right behind me as well, this Cook County Corrections Facility has had a huge outbreak of COVID-19 that's impacting not only the prisoners, but also security guards and administrative staff, and that's also including if they get visits from their families.
Absolutely.
So what are your initial thoughts about the health and safety of everyone that's right behind us?
There is no health and safety in that building there. You know, this is not, you know, our first time being out here. Even since the pandemic began, we have been crying for them to free folks, to have a mass release, to, you know, recognize that there are folks inside those walls with pre-existing conditions, inside those walls people who are over 65, and these people are here awaiting trial, and we've given them a death sentence. So like, if this is not the ideal time for Chicago and Cook County to take the situation that we have with incarceration seriously, then, you know, there's absolutely something wrong with our elected officials.
Now, there's another thing to bring up too, is that we're seeing corporate Democrats and Republicans trying to tell people to calm down, trying to placate them with half measures, telling people to step back, that we got this. What are your initial thoughts on elected officials that are trying to...
They ain't got this. If they had it, they would have been had it. If they had it, there wouldn't be people dying, not only, you know, inside the walls of the jails and prisons, but on the streets. That's the problem. You don't have it. And you don't want to listen to community. So now we have to, like, grab the table from you because you don't know what you're doing, and you don't care. You don't see these as people who are valuable. Black bodies in Cook County have too often been disposable, and we are not disposable.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! My name is Jennings. I'm repping for National Nurses United. This has been the cry of thousands of people who took to the streets over the past 3 weeks in Chicago and across the nation. The question is, how do black and brown citizens demand justice? Do we disband, rebuild the current policing system, which resembles the vestiges of slave patrol of the 1700s? Or do we defund the system which spends billions to recruit, upgrade, and militarize police departments? Policing is now used to protect and preserve institutions, weaponized to disrupt any citizen uprisings, and repression of civil unrest. My issues with the Cook County jail system is they did bail reform. More guys were able to bond out. However, the money that they're saving from that, if there is a savings, it's not being put back into the prison. So the environment is still bad in terms of cleanliness, hygiene, inflated commissary prices. So they need to reform Cook County Jail. They need to be more humane to the prisoners because this is a county jail they're waiting to go to court. So this is innocent until proven guilty. Cook County Jail treats you as if you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So they live in conditions like a third world country jail. You know what I'm saying? The mattresses are very thin. The guys, you know, they're sick. They have health care. But in terms of those comforts, they don't have it. They only eat one meal a day that's hot. Everything else is sandwiches. You can't get vitamins, especially during this pandemic. They were a cluster for the city of the highest COVID rates, and they acted very slow about it in terms of, you know, the safety of the inmates.
As we were protesting, I swear, doing the wobble on the steps, they snatched a young man out of his car, slammed him to the ground, took him, put him in a car, and sped him off while we were fighting police. They're throwing elbows at us. They've got their badges covered. They've got batons out. Those are not the people that make you feel safe. I have never asked someone what makes you feel safe, and they say CPD. They say housing makes me feel safe. They say having a job and being able to feed my family makes me feel safe. They say being able to send my kids to school and not worry about a police officer brutalizing them. They say transformative healing justice. That doesn't make me feel safe. They don't make me feel safe. Covering up their badges so that they're allowed to beat us and get away with it?
That ain't right.
That ain't right. Y'all been out here every day for about 3 weeks. And I know it feels like a long time, but it took hundreds of days for the bus boycott. We have to be out here every day. We have to be out here fucking shit up, shutting it down. I know I've done this every day, but the media needs to be telling our stories the way that they are. Y'all need to be calling out Lightfoot on her BS. Yesterday, she said she wouldn't do Juneteenth because we couldn't afford it, but she can afford pension and taking the CARES Act and putting it more towards police. She can't afford Juneteenth, but she can afford to keep money out of our schools and put it towards luxury developers. That ain't right. That's not my mayor. That's not my gay black woman leader. I'm my gay black woman leader.
What do you want to say to Mayor Lightfoot as she continues to ignore this protest that is not going away?
Lightfoot needs to hurry up and get off her ass. At this point, she's embarrassed. She's looking foolish all over the country for not getting CPD out of schools while all these other states are doing that same thing. She's looking embarrassed for sending police on us, allowing them to cover their badges, seeing all the pictures of it and not doing anything about it. She's full of it. She shouldn't be in office. She should have never been there. Lori Lightfoot is a cop. Oh, I was going to say, Lori Lightfoot, when she was president of the police board and we were demanding that Dante Servin be fired for killing Rakia Boyd, she laughed in Martinez's face.
And then final question, two-part question. What do you want to say to those who are still afraid to show out and be in support, but they want to support? And then where can our viewers and subscribers learn more about your organization and find you guys online?
People who are afraid, I'm afraid. I've always been afraid. Leaving my house is terrifying. Knowing that my brother leaves his house is terrifying. So if you're afraid, you need to get past it. You need to be out here. We are all afraid, but we can't do this without everybody in the streets. We can't do this if you don't show up. That fear needs to turn into work. That fear needs to turn into power and rage. You put it to work. Because if you're afraid, everyone else out here is afraid, and we stick together. And if people want to join Black Lives Matter Chicago, they can email me at ariel@blmshy.org. They can go to our Instagram at blmshy, our Twitter at blmshy. Just hit us up. We're doing one-to-ones. You need to find your movement home, and I got one for you.
Yeah, my name is Christensen. I live in Albany Park. I'm a Lutheran pastor and leader in the Clergy Caucus of the People's Lobby, which is one of the organizations that's coordinating and planning today's action. People from all over the city have gathered here at the Cook County Jail today to call for a massive reallocation of funds away from the Cook County jail system and a reinvestment of those same funds into black and brown communities that have been suffering from generations of disinvestment, racist police violence, and mass incarceration. It's an obscene tragedy that at a moment when the eyes of the entire world are on the United States and the ongoing abuse and murder of black and brown people, that the conversation that people want to have is about rioting and looting, when every single day black and brown people and communities are subjected to systematic violence and structural violence from policies of racist policing and mass incarceration.
Has there been any comment from any elected official in the state of Illinois that wants to stand with you, that's marching with you right now? Has anyone reached out to your organization saying, I will march with you today, or I will stand in solidarity with you today?
Well, there are definitely folks who are in solidarity. It is more important that they do that work on the council floors, in the walls of the commissions, and you know, they don't necessarily have to participate in marches. Get your colleagues on board. Do the work on the inside. So, you know, there are folks who, you know, are aligned with us, who are working to organize the people that they sit next to every day. So, you know, this is going to be a sea of like-minded individuals. We need more people talking to decision makers as well. So do that job.
So, in conclusion, there is no conclusion. The protests are not going away. The protests are still gaining momentum. I have never seen a protest this large before. We've done a lot of coverage here near this Cook County Corrections Facility. The people are demanding reform. The people are demanding the defunding of the Chicago Police Department. The people are demanding the defunding of the Cook County Corrections Jail. Mayor Lightfoot, Governor J.B. Pritzker, both of you ran on reform. And the people elected you into office. It's time for you to listen, because the protests are not stopping. The protests are not slowing down. And if they can't lead, well, that's why we have elections. It's time for us all to step up. This is Kit with Hardlands Media. Peace to you guys, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.